So I was reading an article about the Browns that absolutely drew my attention. And the title was, Will This Fatal Flaw Derail the Browns' Playoff Dreams? And I'm just thinking to myself, like, what's the fatal flaw? Like, I've been sitting here watching Browns games, and I'm just trying to figure out what it is. Solid defense, decent enough run game. The passing game has been electric under Joe Flacco. So the only thing that I can think would be the fatal flaw is the 2 tackles on the offensive line. But that wasn't it. The fatal flaw was that Joe Flacco keeps giving the ball away. He keeps throwing interceptions. And when you look into it, they actually provide some really good stats. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about how much turning the ball over hurts your team. But then I'm going to go on and talk about what the Browns are doing with Flacco and how this is a different Joe Flacco that we've ever seen, and kind of explain to you why I believe it will absolutely work even in the playoffs. And you're playing against a team in the Houston Texans that you just went on the road and beat. Now they have C.J. Stroud now. I get it. But it doesn't stop the fact that you are the more talented team. So, over the past 5 years, we'll just read this little excerpt, all right? This is from ESPN's Bill Barnwell. In his latest column, he says this: 11.5% of regular season drives end in turnovers. That mark drops to under 10%, 9.8% during the postseason. So if you have a quarterback who turns the ball over, it's tougher to overcome those issues in the playoffs because you can't be as confident that the guy on the other side of the field is going to turn the ball over more often. First off, it's 1.7%. Calm down. He said from 2012 to 2022, teams that turned it over 2 times in a game in the regular season still won 38.2% of the time. Teams that turned the ball over 3 times managed just 23.5% of their contest ending in wins. Yet in the postseason, those figures drop. Teams with 2 turnovers in playoff have won only 31.7%, and teams with 3 turnovers are at 17.4%. Okay, so teams with 2 turnovers have dropped from 38.2% winning percentage to 31.7%. Like, I understand that's a drop, but it's also a much smaller sample size. All right? He went on to say the Browns have been the league's best defense this season, and that matters as we head into the postseason. But we can't expect them to force 2 or 3 takeaways per game throughout a 4-game playoff slate. And if they can't overcome the plays where Flacco makes mistakes, the league's most entertaining and unexpected return may be short-lived. What do you think about this? Do you think Joe Flacco is going to continue to turn the ball over? All right, so I went into a little bit deeper into this with Flacco. He has appeared in 5 games. He has won 5 games. In those 5 games, his touchdowns have gone, and this is from starting week 13 against LA and all the way to week 17 against the Jets. His touchdowns are 2, 3, 2, 3, 3. His yards per attempt went from 5.8 to 6.9 to 8.8 to 8.8 to 10.7. In other words, he's pushing the ball down the field. His yardage have gone from 254 to 311 to 388 to 368 at Houston, by the way, to 309. Now, what about his interceptions? He went from 1 pick in his first game, 1 pick in his second game, 3 picks against the Bears, who were turning over everybody in that stretch. And then he gave away 2 interceptions to the Texans and 1 against the Jets. By the way, that Texans game is by far his best game as a Brown. 91.5 offensive grade on PFF. He was 27 of 42 for 368 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He was throwing the ball really, really well. And here's why I'm not uber concerned about the interceptions of Joe Flacco. Because they're asking him to be aggressive. This is a version of Joe Flacco that we honestly have never seen before. We've never seen this just uber aggressive Joe that's just going to chuck it all around the yard. It's just not who he's been in the past. All right. But this turnover ratio, this touchdown to interception ratio is not that far off. He has 13 touchdowns to 8 interceptions this year. For his career, he has 245 to 155. It's like 24 to 15. That's almost the exact same. This is who he has been. He has won Super Bowls as this guy. In 2012, he won a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. I think it was 2012. He had 22 touchdowns and 10 interceptions that year in the regular season. Then in the playoffs, he didn't throw a pick. He did not throw one interception. The next year in 2013, he had 19 touchdowns and 22 interceptions. And besides, his interception numbers are going down. They've gone from 3 to 2 to 1 in the last 3 games. You need Joe Flacco to be aggressive. That's why this team is doing well. All right? When you have an offensive line that has injury problems, when you're not sure what the run game's going to look like, you need a quarterback who's willing to just be a gunslinger. And while being a gunslinger, 2 things happen. All right? Interceptions, turnovers. It happens. But you know what else happens? 11 catches for 265 yards to Amari Cooper. That's what happens. 380-yard games, 360-yard games, just ridiculous stats where the defense doesn't know what's going on. They don't know. And they're not ready for it. Denzel King is playing a ton in the secondary for the Houston Texans. They cut him before the season started. He was cut and then picked up. Like, this is not a defense outside of Derek Stingley Jr., all right, who did not get the best of Cooper. I don't know why I just stuttered. So who did not get the best of Cooper because he doesn't travel the field. You can take advantage of this team in many, many areas. You absolutely can. And by the way, the defense that the Browns have, this run defense, one of the keys to the Texans' success when they started winning games like crazy was because Devin Singletary started playing well. And when he's not playing well, the team, and when Dameon Pierce is not running the ball well, and this team isn't running the ball well, they're not nearly as good. Now, can they sling it all over the field? Yes. Can they sling it all over the field against this defense? Look out. Because if you get Garrett and Smith that can pin their ears back, that they can go after the passer because this team can't run, and you're just asking a rookie quarterback to sling it all over the field. Now, if there's a rookie quarterback who can do it, right, it's C.J. Stroud. This is the first time that a team has made the playoffs under a first-year head coach and a rookie quarterback. It's never happened before. Well, maybe not make the playoffs, but won a division. It's never happened before. And the Texans did it. They're a good team. The Browns are more talented, period. They are further along at this point. And so I think that will be a big advantage. I'm sure I'll make another video about that going on later, about how the Browns are simply more talented. But hopefully they can overcome this one problem and get a victory on the road. All right, see you this weekend. Can't wait to watch. We'll have videos every day in between. All right, see ya.